we are ready here, or I am ready here. So yeah, hello everyone. Uh, so yeah, starting this streaming thing. I've been planning this for a good while, but previously I didn't have an internet connection that could actually provide a stable connection for streaming, but now I have a new connection, and let's see how this all works. So today I'm gonna draw or finish a few Mapvember maps, or let's see, it's quite late already here in Finland, so I'm not gonna, maybe, let's see, maybe an hour or so. Depends what kind of flow I'll get on. But anyway, I'll be finishing a few Mapvember maps from this week. They are more precisely empty temples from 21st, and then I have some layouts done for the catacombs for 22nd, and break on through from 23rd. And I'm a bit late. I haven't drawn anything about the Uncanny Valley or jungle warfare, which is today's topic, but I'll try to get those done tomorrow. Okay, but yeah, so let's get to work. Okay, so here's a layout and some details that I've already drawn about the empty temples. That was, well, first of all, this year I decided to draw or do all of my Mapvember maps to fit modern post-apocalyptic or science fiction themes, and this was a bit like I just couldn't like come up with a decent like a topic for this one, so I decided to go with this kind of like some kind of ancient abandoned alien temple thingy that you could find on some kind of a jungle planet or whatnot. I added there some these like rotating doors, and which are open at the moment, and then some pillars and some kind of like a humanoid face as an altar, or some kind of like a centerpiece in this. So each of these are like temples, so there's like three temples in this building. And as I drew these stairs down to this like a central chamber, I got the idea that what if I fill this with water. And at first I intended to leave this like without any specifics, but then I ended up drawing some plants and trees there, so now it seems that it's kind of a jungle or something like that, and I'll try to finish that. And yeah, let's see what comes out of this. The solid parts I'm going to leave like this for now, unless I'll get some idea to add some minor details there, but I'll try to leave them so that I can later scan the map easily. I can scan the map and then color it easily on Photoshop. So I've noticed that if there's some kind of like a cross-hatching or something, it's not that easy to color it. Well, you can color it, but it doesn't create that good effect, in my opinion, if there's like color and cross-hatching on top of each other. Well, basically the problem is that then you cannot create so good effects with the color layer. well, at least I haven't found any like good ways to do that. I actually just saw today on, was it on Facebook, Dyson Logos had posted a picture of one of his maps that was colored, and it had like cross-hatching and colors, and well, that worked quite fine, but I have some effects that I like to use, and they don't work really well with the cross-hatching, so that's kind of like my problem thingy. Okay, I hope that you can hear me fine, and everything is like okay, like the picture isn't lagging or there isn't any other technical difficulties. If there is any, please leave me a note in chat, for example, so I can look into that. I'm kind of like learning this whole thing still, and trying to figure out everything, how all the software and hardware works together, and so on. But yeah, at least I made a test video before this, and everything was okay in that. But yeah, let's get to work. Yeah. There's some background music you might be hearing, and that's actually from what? Yeah, the background music and ambience that you are hearing is from tabletop audio, and I've been using tabletop audio for when I GM Dungeons and Dragons and other role-playing games that we are playing right now, Esper Genesis, like a 5th edition space opera, for example, and I really like how this works. I've tried some other soundboard thingies, but either they require installment or have been otherwise like somehow complicated for me to use. I don't say that they are bad, but like for me, this tabletop audio, it has been like extremely easy to use, and it's a browser-based thingy, so it works excellent for me. So I had the tabletop audio is sponsoring these streams, and I'm very happy that we can have this background ambience and music from tabletop audio on these videos. So go check it out, tabletopaudio.com. I highly recommend that. Yeah, so let's get back to the map thingies. Adjust the camera a bit. Yeah, so what I usually use for my maps when I draw them on paper, well, first of all, I don't always use graph paper. Sometimes, but not always. Like when I find it somehow useful or necessary to follow the graph grid, then I use graph paper. But otherwise, I like to use just plain paper. Sometimes I use I print out like a grid on a paper and put it behind the paper that I'm drawing on, and then kind of like I can see the grid through the paper, and I can trace the grid if necessary. But otherwise, it's I find it more it is more freedom, and you don't follow the grid so much. So yeah, works in some occasions, especially if there's like lots of like organic form, like caves and caverns and so on. It feels much more natural to draw on plain paper. But then if you need to draw like straight lines like walls and that sort of stuff, then usually graph paper is good to have, or at least like a printed out graph paper under your the paper you're drawing on. And then for the pens that I use, I really like these. I started using maybe a year ago these Copic multiliners. They have this like a aluminum casing, and they have replaceable ink cartridges and the tips, so they are like reusable in that sense, and I find that really good thing to have. I also use regular Pigma microns, and then some other brands like Graphic and this one Deleter Neo Pico line. And yeah, basically like they have some differences in quality in my opinion, but yeah, sometimes it might surprise that like some pens that don't seem that special, they are actually pretty good quality. And same thing goes with paper. Like this is just like a regular graph paper notepad I bought from local supermarket, and yeah, it works pretty well. But then again, I've also used like papers designed especially for inking, and yeah, well, they are really good for that. They have minimum bleed. They create very sharp lines, and they don't really like suck all the ink in from your pen, so your pens last much longer and so on. So there are differences with the papers. Okay, let's see how much I can really talk while drawing. And yeah, oh yeah, that I almost forgot to tell that for, well, it depends a bit, but usually for the thicker outlines I use either 0.7 or 0.5 thickness, and for bigger details like here and here I use the 0.3, and then for the smaller details 0.1, and then for very small details that I don't have here yet I use this like a 0.05 thickness. Okay, but let's get on with this. After much talking and explaining stuff. Yeah, maybe I'll draw a few more details with the 0.3. So here's like some kind of humanoid face thingy, and I don't really want to do the same for this one. So what could it be? Could it be some kind of a creature with the elongated head, weird shoulder thingies, arms crossed over the chest. Maybe a long tail. Some kind of often when I'm drawing these larger details, well, let's draw an example. Like here, for example, we could draw some kind of stone table of sorts, like so. And now I might draw a couple of lines there more to add some extra detail. But then, like, I'll finish that later by drawing with much thinner adding some more details there. Not if that's any good, but let's have it so. Okay, and here I want some kind of strange jars, a lot of them, or some other like weird cylinders laid out on the floor. Okay. Has fallen there. Okay, and here. Okay. This should be something fairly creepy. Oh man, I have the bad habit of like drawing a fairly simple map and then suddenly figuring out something that I really want to add there. Like now, I definitely want to add some secret caves or some kind of tunnels there. Yeah, I'm so gonna do that. Okay, but in this case I have the 0.7 outlines, the thicker ones, but now while I'm adding some like tunnels or something there, I'm gonna draw them with the smaller 0.5. Here we have some kind of dice or pedestal. Why I didn't draw it like that? It's terrible to try to make it symmetrical. Almost made it. Yeah. So I thought that there could be some kind of like a hole on the ground, but first I want here to draw here some more of those weird tables. I feel like I should have warmed up a bit. For some reason, hands are a bit shaky, or the lines are not so confident that I would like them to be. Well, that's just how it is sometimes. Okay. Yeah, but now I'll add here like lines so that it seems like it's going underneath. I don't know if that's how clear that is. Okay. And some details here. Like so. This one is just like a dark hole. Move into the darkness, like a well of sorts, but just plain darkness down there. Here, this what's here? There's nothing now. There's some remains of something big that's been lying there. And there's come up with the word what it is. This network of fibers or strands or something, whatever. Strange growth all over the place. Oftentimes I feel that like a map I'm drawing is like, oh no, this is not gonna be good. But then like in this phase, when you start adding all the tiny details, the map usually gets some kind of like it gets a bit like a character, like or like it just adds some atmosphere, so it starts to feel that the map has actually some kind of story in it, and then it like starts looking better. I actually made a map a while ago called Well of Horrors. Oh no, actually I intended to add some water here. Well, maybe it's not too late yet. I'll fake it a bit. Okay. Yeah, I made a map called Well of Horror, and it was based on an idea that there's an aboleth that's been either in hibernation for a very long time and it's quite weak at the moment, or then there's like a tiny a hatchling that's been there like hibernating for years and years, and now for some reason it has hatched, and it starts to gather this kind of like a cult around it, and as aboleths they secrete that kind of like a mucus thingy. So I kind of like expanded a bit on that idea that the whole cave is full of this weird bioluminescent growth, and I also wanted to add some hints there that for example those traces of that weird glowing growth they lead behind walls where there is a secret doors and so on. So yeah, sometimes it's nice to add these little details that also work as clues for the players. I remember adding in some map some kind of tracks or some kind of tracks on the ground or floor that led through a secret door, a very classic thingy, but still something that adds again a bit some kind of story and atmosphere there. Okay, so now when you think that the players enter this weird temple thingy through these strange rotating doors, or these what are these, like plates or whatever. I don't know the word right now. Anyway, you come from here, and here's like a big hall filled with water, and you don't exactly know how deep it is and what might be lurking there in the dark waters. Okay. Let's continue with the weird growth thingy. Stairs here in the middle. Okay, let's move outside for a bit. I was wondering for a bit, like that did I make a mistake when I added these weird plants here? And well, I have an idea, but let's see how it works. I just want that they are not like there would be just like a grass and then these plants like jutting from the grass. I'd like to have this like a bit like the feel of like it's overgrown or something like that. So here's this like bigger trees and forest, like tree lines. Okay, they can be there, but let's see. I'll have an idea how to make the ground look like it's not just grass over there. Let's finish these first. Okay, looks like if it's an hour that I'm gonna draw, I'm not gonna get anything else but this done. Let's see. I'm a bit of a night owl myself, so I usually activate around 10 p.m. or so, and I've been struggling always with early mornings in the school and the work. Gladly I have we have pretty flexible work hours, so suits me. Alright, now yeah, I was thinking that if I add this a bit same effect as in the trees, that instead of drawing these like a clearer lines for elevations and such, I'll instead draw these like a similar. Not saying that this isn't like this very good looking right now, but let's see. Oh well. At least it's not like completely terrible. Yeah, that's actually pretty fine. I don't know if you can see how clear, like that. Yeah, so this is the third Mapvember. 2015 was the first one. I started almost as a joke, and like always, like usually from jokes, like good things get started. At least in my case. In a few occasions. Yeah, it was 2015 when I was in a meeting, I think, and I was thinking that I missed the Inktober, and it was just turned to November, and I wasn't that much into growing mustache, so I thought that, hey, I'll draw a map every day this month, and I'll call it Mapvember, and that's how it started. It's really nice to see that people are getting more interested in this whole Mapvember challenge, and the point really is to, like, well, personally, for example, this year I take this as something that, like, usually I have the tendency to like over design maps sometimes. Like I'll try to like figure out something really interesting, and then like in the end I don't get really end up doing anything that special in my opinion, but still like yeah, well, now with these Mapvember maps, when you have to draw a map per day, that sets you like a pretty strict limits on like how much you can spend time on one map, and how much you can try to plan it. And when we have these these topics for each day, it also like helps to think about what you are going to do. And I personally, I think this is pretty clever idea to have these song titles. They are not by me, but most of them are by people suggested them on Facebook and maybe Twitter, but anyway, so it's like it's really nice to have some kind of like loose idea and then start building around that. And yeah, so it's kind of like a practice of like trying not to overdo things. Of course, you could spend like a 1 month per map, and for maps like what Devon Rue, for example, does. Check out her webpage. She's like an amazing, really talented cartographer. Like does usually like regional or world maps, and those are really detailed. And I'm not surprised at all that they take like 1 month to finish. So yeah, so it completely depends on what kind of map you're doing. Like if it's like a 1 page dungeon map, you can do it in a day, or like well, depends again like on level of detail, if it's color and so on. But still, even that like a 1 page dungeon, you can spend like days and days on it, or then you might have like a strict time limit that you can spend only a few hours on it, and then you do what you can do with that time. And I think that Mapvember is really good in that sort of practice, that you learn to use the limited time that you have. I've tried in a few occasions to like do something like a really quick, but I don't know, I just haven't managed to do that. I mean like 15 minutes for a map. Totally doable. You could do even like a good map in that time, if you have like a good idea, and let's say that the topic of the map is something that, like, you make a handout map, for example, like there's a pirate treasure, so you definitely can draw in 15 minutes like a quick island and some important landmarks there, and then X to mark the spot for the treasure, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, it completely depends on what you're doing, how much you have to spend time on it. And sometimes like it really doesn't need that much time. And especially for people like me who like maybe want to like just dwell on details and always think that, well, that could be a bit better, maybe I'll redo that part and so on. It's a really good thing to have some kind of like a strict limit, like when to stop. I feel very tempted to draw like leathery eggs here, but I think I'll leave them out. Well, in this version at least. Maybe I'll draw an alternative version where I'll add those leathery eggs there. Laying down, waiting for someone to take a peek. What are these weird eggsy begsy thingies? I'm trying to add some kind of like a effect of like curving tunnel walls, but feel like I'm not really succeeding that well right now. Maybe I'll need to just like add there. Yeah, that's better. Like adding a thin line there on the ground to mark where the wall and meets the tunnel floor. these are like small crawling tunnels, unless you're a creature that lives in these tunnels and is very agile and quick. I wonder if I should draw the floor tiles, but I think I'll leave them out for now. Maybe add them later. But they are not needed right now. Okay. Much better. I've asked sometimes, like for example, from a colleague of mine who's an illustrator. I asked him that what kind of music he usually likes to listen to while drawing, and he said that he cannot really listen to any kind of music because that usually kind of messes up with the mood he has while drawing. And yeah, I can understand that if you have like a very clear subject that you're trying to illustrate, and then you're listening to music that's completely like something very different. But personally, I like to listen to music, or sometimes I like to have like a movie or series running on the background while drawing. But yeah, well, typically I like to have that, or like if I'm drawing a sci-fi map, I like to watch sci-fi, so it kind of like gets you in the mood and inspires you while drawing. But I guess this is very much like a matter of personal preference. Okay, now we have the weird nest tunnel thingies there set up. Let's add some weird shit there. Oh, I would so like to shade these with different shades of gray to like make certain details stand out better, but I'm not gonna, because I'm going to scan these later, and if I'm adding any shading here with the graph paper, that's gonna be a big problem in the next stage, because it's going to be a pain in the ass to try to remove the graph grid on Photoshop if there's some shades of gray. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess this is pretty much done. A few more details here and there, just like adding these tiny dots and bits. I wonder if these need something. Yeah, maybe some smaller details there to make them look more like doors. Okie dokie. That's it. What was the number? Was it 21? Yes. So, next one was catacombs. Okay, so for this one I watched or looked up some reference catacomb layouts, like from real world, like under Paris and Rome, and well, yeah, I was kind of like astounded by how frigging large they can be. So I had to like scale this down a bit, but I thought that this is some kind of like a catacomb or crypt under a city or some like a castle or something, and there's like 3 different stairs leading here, or perhaps I'll draw one stairway leading down. Yes, that might be a good idea. And yeah, so and here's like a larger rooms of sorts, and then these smaller alcoves here, everywhere. And here's like some kind of natural cave thingy. Yeah. So, commencing stair and detail adding phase. And again, I'll leave these solid parts without any cross-hatching. I'll deal with that later. Yeah. Let's change the atmosphere. Again, background ambience provided by Tabletop Audio. You can look them up at tabletopaudio.com, and it's a browser-based sound like ambience and music for like background music for role-playing sessions, for example, or map drawing streams. And there's also a sound pad that you can use to mix your own background ambience. Very useful. I can recommend that. I've been using it myself, and this stream is sponsored by Tabletop Audio. Go check them out. Well worth it. Okie dokie. I think I'm gonna need a better light for the map. Thinking here what to add there on the map, what kind of like details. Okay, let's get to work. There isn't that many places for doors, but maybe like bars. Yes. I'll add some bars here and there. Namely here. And here. Classic bar. 3 dots. Side by side. Do we need any secret doors? I think we do. Oh damn. Here we are gonna have like a secret door. But let's do it with this kind of like a small box. And I'll add their letters later. Or maybe we'll add it here. Yes. Let's do that. Like that. So that's connecting those two parts. Then I'll add some stairs here. And here. With the stairs, it's usually if you are using a lot of like different elevations, you need to like check through that there isn't any weird phenomenon happening, like where stairs lead like to an infinite loop. So that needs to be always taken into account. Okay, so This is obviously some kind of like a deeper cavity thing. Here we have stairs over there, and here we have stairs leading downstairs. Like so. Classic stairs. And here we have stairs coming down. Okay, let's not do cross-hatching, but let's do a little effect. Here you can see that when, well, I'll explain it later when I have the thing properly done. I said that this is all of my Mapvember maps this year. They are going to be modern, post-apocalyptic or sci-fi maps. And well, this map could be definitely used for a fantasy adventure, but I kind of like took inspiration for this map from the John Wick Chapter 2, where there is this one scene where John Wick is fighting his way through the catacombs of, well, they are some catacombs under part of Rome, I think. So this could be some kind of similar situation, maybe in a bit darker version of our world, some kind of like world of darkness, or maybe just like some a chase through these catacombs with goons around every corner. Let's see if I can like fit here a few, not traps, but some kind of like a natural hazards or something to make things a bit more interesting. Let's see. I'm trying to look that I'm like not running away from the camera by accident, so you can actually see what I'm drawing and how I'm drawing these are not supposed to be like tutorial videos per se, but still, like, it's good if you can get some ideas from this, or just like yeah, get ideas. Part, the main hole. If you're drawing maps for like virtual tabletop use, for example, the graph grid is making things much more easier in that sense, that because the VTTs are usually somehow grid based, so it's easier to make maps that follow some kind of grid. Otherwise it's going to be a pain in the ass, for excuse my expression, but it's going to be really difficult to like match the grid with the map. Okay, so now we have we have the outlines, added some details there, and a secret door and so on. Next, let's add some finer details. And now for the parts that are following these like constructed tunnels or catacomb walls, maybe like they might be like some kind of stone work or something, they're gonna be a bit different than these that are more like natural caves. Okay, but so here I'm gonna draw these like tile edges. Oh no, it seems that I almost did like this 3D effect. Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but kind of creates certain restrictions on how you can, or what you can add later on there, like details, for example. Okay, so here with the secret door, now it's like surrounded with these bricks, so you can notice that it's actually like a brick or stone wall on both sides, and then there's this like secret passage in between those walls. Then I'll add like a occasional like a double brick or a crack there to add just like a bit more character there. And intentionally I don't make like solid lines, but I'll leave them a bit open here and there on the outside to create the kind of like a impression of well, yeah, so that the thicker lines create clear lines where the room borders are, and this is more like decoration around it. It doesn't have that like clear function except for like adding flavor there. I'm not saying that it's not important, but still, you get the point, I think. Okay, but I'll try to get this done, and then I think I have to quit after getting this map done. These can take easily a lot of time when you start drawing these. Okay, now we arrived to the cave edge, and here I'm drawing more these like a rocky lines, making these a bit like wedge-shaped lines to create the impression of like the depth. And make the lines a bit uneven to have the feeling of this like a natural cave wall texture. That. Okay, like so. Hi there, Profeta Rojo. Red Prophet, if I'm not totally wrong. Nice to have you here. I think I really need to get a camera with better macro focus, or like a camera that can zoom in better to get like a even sharper picture of the maps while I draw them. Or what do you think? Can you get a clear picture of what I'm drawing here? Oh, thanks. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for following me on Instagram. I have an account there that I try to like keep updated. For example, these maps are coming on Instagram, and later on Patreon, as like a, I've been talking about like scanning these and so on. So my plan is to have these maps scanned and then like cleaned up on Photoshop, and maybe add some more details and color them, and then I usually make a labeled version of the map with a short like a background story and description, and then also like virtual tabletop ready versions of the maps. I didn't have much time to like warn people about this stream today because my plans for this weekend got like completely like they didn't go at all like I planned. We have a toddler that's going through a phase that she really doesn't want to go to sleep, and well, yeah, this is gonna last for a while. All of the kids had this phase, and it's making the planning evenings like very difficult. But it's a phase, as they say. I actually tried to or like tested the YouTube live stream, but I don't know, it just like a Twitch worked so easily, so I decided not to bother myself with that anymore. I am recording these streams so that I can actually like upload the videos later on YouTube when I have some time for that. So these will be available on YouTube also. You can probably find me. I guess the title will be something Miska's Map something or Mapvember something, so you can find me there. Okay, but now you can see that the lines like for the walls and the caves, they have a bit nicer effect now. So even though there isn't any cross hatching, it still like looks like there is something more. And now when I'm coloring these, it's much easier to color these, and they look better with colors than with cross hatching. And as I explained earlier, I'm using certain effects usually that, and when I've tried to use them with cross hatching, I haven't been very happy with that. So that's why I'm not cross hatching these particular maps right now, because I have like plans for the future. I'm a man with the plan. Da da da. I don't know how this works on Twitch, like okay, but if you happen to like this video, like please follow my channel here on Twitch, so you should get a notification if you have set it up properly when I'm going live. And I'm still like a bit learning this all, like how everything works, how all the hardware and software works, but eventually I'm trying to have some kind of like a more or less regular streaming schedule. But yeah, let's see how that will go in the end, like especially right now when we have this tyranny of toddler going on. in our household, so I'm not sure how well I can commit right now to like a strict streaming dates and times, but I'm trying to keep up like so that I'm streaming at least once a week, probably even more if I just have time. And these are now just like ink and paper maps that I'm drawing, but next week I'm like starting to work on some of my Patreon maps this month, and then you can see the process from like how it's going to be like when I scan a map and bring it to Photoshop and color it and add the details and so on. So you can see how that process goes. Yes, finally. Oops. Finally. Oh, there's one more thing to do. Okay. So I got all those covered. And then I noticed that I really would like to add some kind of like pillars over here. Maybe there, yes. Usually I try to like draw pillars like here in the cross section of the grids, but well, these felt like they are more natural over there. Then let's add some minor these like rocks and something. Whatever they are. Just to make it more interesting. I don't know why I started again, like something that's gonna take another 15 minutes to finish. Well, not gonna spend that much for this. Yeah, that's enough. Just like some squiggly lines and then a bit like these rock-like thingies. But okay, what about the floors now? Should I add some like tiling there? That's another thing that's gonna take some time, so maybe not. Guess I'll just add like a few minor details now. Okay, like that. We have some details around the walls. Okay, so yeah, now we can add some more details here and there. Adding some cracks there. More stairs. Those when I was looking at the reference pictures for catacombs, they were really impressive, like those walls of skulls in some of the crypts or like catacombs around the world. Really impressive. Very scary looking, but still amazing. some bones over there. Throw me a bone here. Alright, I think if I continue anymore I might overdo this, so this is okay for now. Let's add just my signature there. Second out of 30. I'm a bit behind, but I'm gonna catch up. I have this breaking through on the other side, and this is gonna be like a bank heist. There's some kind of, maybe, what, I don't know, some kind of storage room or something, and they have like drilled their way through to the bank vault here, and all that stuff. But I'm going to do that later. It's quite late here right now, so that's it for tonight. Yeah, so later this week I'm gonna continue with the other Mapvember maps, and then some coloring some maps and finishing them for Patreon by the end of the month. Yeah, so it's going to be a busy week, so probably going to stream this week a bit more than usually, or like next week. Well, basically this week it's Monday already. So yeah, okay, but yeah, thank you a lot for watching, and see you next time. And this stream was sponsored by Tabletop Audio. It provided us the background ambience and music. I recommend you to check them out on tabletopaudio.com. It's really neat browser-based soundboard system thingy, and you can find me on Instagram as Miskas Maps, and on Twitter and as Miska Fredman. That's like Fredman. And on Patreon you can find more about my maps, and also on web www.miskasmaps.com. and if you want to support my work, just have a look at those websites and social media channels, and follow me over there, and remember to follow this channel on Twitch so you can find me better and quicker and get notifications when I'm back on live. So yeah, thanks for watching, and see you next time.